tell the people that are watching, how did this whole journey start with you?
Well, it really started with a blog. It was Katie Davis, and many of you have read her book since. And at the time, she, didn't have a book, and a lot of people were reading her blog, but I had never heard of her. And a friend mentioned her blog to me, and so I got on one night, and it came at a time in my life where I was worried that I was missing my purpose, that I was missing what God had called me to. I don't know that I completely knew what it was, but I knew that I was missing something, and there was a lot of baggage and bondage and just junk that was obviously kind of holding me back. And I was just at that place in my life where I know a lot of people get, where you're just tired of it. Yeah. You just know that there's freedom and there's more, and you don't want to be wasting your time here. And so at the time, I was reading her blog. I was actually sitting on my bathroom floor because Zach and the kids were all asleep, and I didn't want to keep Zach awake with the light of the computer. And so I sat there on the bathroom floor for, 3 hours that night reading. And it was one of those nights where I could not escape God. I knew that something had to change. It was, I think sometimes we have these pivotal moments where everything changes. And not always. Most of our moments where we grow and we experience more and more of God, it's small things, it's little things. But for me, that was one of those nights where, really I've never been the same ever since. And so that night I just knew that I wanted to surrender in a deeper way. And, I was on the bathroom floor and I was like, God, okay, I'm in. Like, whatever you want from me, I'm in. And the next day I remember waking up, and I remember sitting at my sink and doing the dishes, and I remember thinking, I feel different. Like, everything in me felt different. Like, this release of the control that I'd been holding on to and all this approval that I had wanted from other people. It was a freedom that I had always wanted, and I thought, I would hear people talk about, but I didn't know for myself until that point.
And basically, this is what I think is amazing about this, and this is why our stories matter, is that you're just reading someone's story that you've never met, you've never heard of. A friend was like, hey, Jenny, you should read this. And the way that she said she surrendered years before affected your whole life.
I know, and it's so fun to be, a few years later and bringing people back to this story, because so much has happened because of this story in my life. I mean, everything is different. And if I had a clue that night what was going to happen, I couldn't have imagined it. And so, If Gathering and my son, and there's so many things. I don't want to give away everything because I know a lot of you haven't read the book yet, but there's so many things that God did. And the image that I feel like this book represents for me are these dominoes, where all of these people fell into my life, and then my life hopefully fell into a few other people's lives, and then their lives fall into other people's lives. And I think we don't want to miss that. Like, God could easily reroute around our domino, but I'm like, I want in. Like, I want to fall to see what's going to happen, because I don't want to miss it, and I'm so glad I didn't. My life would be completely different if it weren't for that prayer.
I think everybody listening, watching us right now can relate to this, that they're either in that moment right now of thinking, God, I don't want to miss out. What am I doing here? Or they can think back and be like, I remember the time I was on my bathroom floor and I said, I surrender everything to you.